Hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and start off where we left yesterday. Mrs. Jones came to the rescue. She got up and joined us at the podium. I think I may have a solution, she said, if Mrs. Ollinger will cede some of her time to me. I nodded. Ladies and gentlemen of the school board, not so long ago when I was a librarian at Shelburne Elementary, we had an official policy for book challenges. When a book was challenged, it went to a faculty committee for review, and then to me, your hired representative, for a final decision. It was fair. It was a fair and balanced system you yourselves designed and approved, and it was a system that protected everyone in the process. But none of the books that had been removed from the Shelburne Elementary shelves ever went through the process. Not one. One or two of the school board members started to understand where she was going, even if I didn't. All this trouble began when the official request for reconsideration policy was abandoned, and this board began arbitrarily removing books from the shelves. I humbly submit that we go back to the policy as set down in the school board's bylaws. In doing so, the books originally removed from the Shelburne Elementary shelves will be returned, pending a full review by the faculty committee and a final decision by the school librarian. Then, if it's determined that the books are inappropriate for students that age, they can be removed. And if not, Mrs. Jones trailed off, but we all knew what would happen. What was going to happen? The books would stay on the Shelburne Elementary shelves, and everyone who had banned them to begin with would get a great big do-over. And this time, they wouldn't make the same mistakes twice. Move to submit all challenged books through the reconsideration policy as set forth in the school board bylaws, one of the board members said. Second, 3 more of them said quickly. All those in favor? Asked the chairman. Aye, they all said quickly. He didn't even have to ask if there were any opposed. He banged his gavel and the room erupted in cheers. I grabbed up Danny and Trey and Rebecca in one big hug. I don't understand, Danny said. What does it mean? It means they made a motion during public comment time, which legally you're not supposed to do, Rebecca said. Oh, hush, I told her. I hopped up and down. It means we won. Agent Double A. The day after the school board meeting, every local news station and newspaper wanted an interview with me. We even got a call from a national cable news channel. Mom and Dad finally gave in and let me do interviews, but I said the same thing to all of them. It was something Mrs. Jones had said the first day Mrs. Spencer came in to challenge Captain Underpants, and I practiced it over and over until I got it right every time. Nobody has the right to tell you what books you can and can't read except your parents. Mrs. Jones got her job back, and all the books that had been banned from the Shelburne Elementary Library returned to the shelves for good. Somebody from the local newspaper came out to take a picture of me, Rebecca, Danny, and Trey helping Mrs. Jones put them back. Before we got started, Mrs. Jones pinned a plastic badge to my shirt. I flipped it up to look at it. It was one of the badges the teachers wore. It had a picture on it, and beside that it said Amy Ann Ollinger, Assistant Librarian. There you go, Miss Jones said. Now it's official. Although if you're going to be a real librarian, we're going to have a talk about library patron privacy, but that's a discussion for another time. Congratulations, Amy Ann, and thank you. Mrs. Jones swallowed me in a big polka-dotted hug, and Rebecca, Danny, and Trey clapped like I had won some big award. Mrs. Jones wheeled out the cart of banned books, and we started putting them back where they belonged, while the reporter took pictures. When we got to the end, there were a bunch of stapled books with construction paper covers that I had never seen before. The title on the first one was Agent Double A versus the Book-Eating Bovine. There was a picture on the cover of a spy girl with a mask over her eyes, fighting the ninja cow with a book in its mouth. In the top corner it said, First Amendment Comics. Those are some new acquisitions. I was hoping you could help me shelve, Mrs. Jones said. They go in the graphic novel section under M for McBride. Danny flicked his hair out of his eyes so he could see. Trey drew this, he said. Sweet. Agent Double A, huh? Rebecca said. She looks a lot like you, Amy Ann. Trey blushed. I just got inspired. I grinned. I liked it, especially because I wasn't a mouse anymore. I was a kick-butt secret agent. I'm not sure your mom is going to like being drawn as a cow, though, I said. Trey's eyes went wide. Oh, yeah, well, let's just not tell her. The end. I admired my new librarian badge as I sat on the first bus home that afternoon with my sister Alexis. The bus let us off at the bottom of our street, and Alexis pirouetted for home. I stood and stared again at my yellow house. I still liked the idea of running away from the mixed-up files style, but only for the adventure. I wasn't so reluctant to go home anymore. My house was still chaos central, no doubt about that. It was me who was different. I wasn't going to take things lying down anymore. If something bothered me, I was going to say something about it. Come on, Amy Ann, Alexis called, and I hurried to catch up. Flotsam and Jepson greeted us at the door, jumping all over us and almost knocking me down. They scrambled away just as quickly, chasing Angelina as she galloped by into the living room. No one was in the kitchen, but I could hear Dad singing his favorite opera song somewhere down the hall. Amy Ann, are you and Alexis home? My mom called. That surprised me. Mom wasn't usually home this early. Yeah, I called back. Come and help us. Mom said, we're in the guest bedroom. Great. If they were in the guest bedroom, that probably meant they were cleaning it for somebody to stay in it, and they wanted me to help. Sure enough, when I got there, I found Dad pulling boxes out of the closet and Mom taking stuff out of her desk. Why don't Angelina and Alexis have to help? I wanted to ask. So I did. Because this isn't going to be their bedroom, Mom said. It's going to be yours. I was stunned. My bedroom? As in all mine and nobody else's? Dad lifted a dumbbell. Your mom and I realized we had a workout room nobody ever worked out in. And an home office I never do work in, Mom said. And if your grandmother and grandfather come to visit, we can put them in our room and we can sleep on the pull-out couch in the living room. It's high time you and Alexis had your own rooms. And maybe now you won't feel like you have to stay late in the library after school just to avoid coming home, Dad said. I blushed. I'm sorry, I told them again. Mom hugged me. It's all right, sweetheart. It's not a big house, I know, and it can feel overwhelming sometimes. A lot of times, I thought, and so I said so. Mom laughed. A lot of times, but now you'll have your very own fortress of solitude. Here, I've already cleared off a bookcase for you. You can use one shelf for the books you own and another books for the books you check out from the library. I ran to get my stack of books from my own room, my old room, and put them on the shelf one by one. I was going to have to start alphabetizing them by author, maybe even separate them out by subject, but for now I just stuffed them onto the bookshelf, my very own bookshelf. I filled the shelf beneath the books I owned with the 6 books I brought home that day from the library. You checked all of these out today, Dad asked. He picked up The Hunger Games and flipped through it. Whoa, he said, this seems pretty violent. He closed it and read the back cover. It says here the main character is 16. It was in the elementary school library, I told him. Yes, but Shelburne Elementary goes up to 6th grade, he said. I think maybe I don't want you reading this one just yet. I gawked at my dad. You're banning that book? But we just got the school board to stop banning books. No, Dad said. You got the school board to stop banning everybody from reading books. As I seem to recall, we're still your parents and can tell you what you can and can't do. But Rebecca's parents let her read it, I said. Rebecca's parents can let her do whatever they want, Dad said. How did the cute little girl on the TV put it, hun? He asked my mom. Nobody has the right to tell you what books you can and can't read, except your parents, Mom said, quoting what I had said on TV back to me. There wasn't much I could say to that. I was the one who'd said it, and I had to admit this was exactly what I had fought for. Dad kissed me on the top of my head and put The Hunger Games on the top of the bookshelf. Just wait a couple of years. You'll like it better than anyways. I nodded. I wasn't happy about it, but I respected their decision. Every now and then you had to break the rules to do the right thing, but a lot of times following the rules was the right thing to do. That made me think of something, and I smiled. Mrs. Spencer had banned my favorite book because she thought it would encourage kids to lie, steal, and be disrespectful to adults. And I had done all those things. But it wasn't any book that made me do all those things. It was banning a book that made me lie, steal, and be disrespectful to adults. I thought that was pretty funny and thought about saying it to my parents. So I did. Okay, I kind of want to know what you guys think about it. So it's not really an assignment, but if you, because I know not the whole class read it, but if you listened to it, if you did, will you email me, send me a separate email and tell me what you think of the book? I love this book and I'm thinking about doing it as a read aloud next year because I think the kids would like it. So tell me what you think and why you liked it or why you didn't like it. Okay, bye guys. Have a wonderful weekend.